Welcome to Friday Takeaway. We are getting scandalous this week with the likes of Datasonic and MyEG. But before we even get into that, it continues to be a red October as global markets all around the world continue to bleed. Both the Dow and S&P 500 fell off a cliff, which saw all their gains for the year wiped out, despite some positive earnings reports that it just shrugged off. This then spilled over into Asia, and signs of the infection are also reaching Europe. Asia is officially in bear market territory, and analysts say the fear is palpable. Some of the concerns are that both growth and profits are peaking as global events like increasing rates and trade tensions really start to sink in. What is of bigger concern is that with no clear circuit breaker in sight, as strategist Greg McKenna puts it, it will get worse before it gets better. This week, the KLCI slipped below the 1,700 point mark and has been one of the most turbulent weeks seen in the bourse, and expect this turbulence to continue as we lead up to Budget 2019. It was a twofer at courts yesterday as ex-PM Datuk Sri Najib Razak and ex-Treasury Sec-Gen Tan Sri Irwan Siriga Abdullah were jointly charged with 6 counts of criminal breach of trust involving 6.6 billion ringgit. Both pleaded not guilty and bail was set at ringgit 1 million each. Also at court, ex-spy chief Datuk Hassana Abdul Hamid, also charged with CBT, also pleaded not guilty. Interestingly, Najib said that the act of diverting the 6.6 billion was to avoid a national default amid numerous contractual obligations, namely 1MDB, ECRL and 2 gas pipeline projects. In short, he was doing it all for you. And finally, Energy Minister Yeo Bee Yin has cancelled 4 IPP licenses for failure to adhere to conditions laid out in their offer letters. She says that cancelling these 4 would optimise capacity payment for electricity supply, meaning if payments go up, bills go up. Among the 4 included are a gas power plant in Qatar to be undertaken by Tenaga Nasional and Malakoff Corp. Malakoff didn't take the news well and saw its share price stumble as a result. This week, we are taking a look at 2 companies with links to ex-DPM Datuk Sri Zahid Hamidi and were named in the charges brought against him. First is Datasonic, which was alleged to have paid Zahid to be able to secure a contract to supply IT chips for Malaysian passports. Second, MyEG, where Zahid as Home Minister was said to have received money from a third party to get a contract from MyEG. The question is it even nuts to touch 2 companies that have been tainted by scandal and whose share prices have already suffered? Or is there actually something there worth looking at? Let's take a closer look. Datasonic's chief business is the provision of ICT solutions, specifically related to chips, such as the type in your credit card, bank card, and any form of ID. They were also involved as one of the subcontractors for the MyCard project. Unless you've been living in a cave, Datasonic was hit badly by the news that one of its directors had allegedly paid the ex-DPM 6 million ringgit for a 5-year contract to provide 12.5 million chips for Malaysian passports. To say its share price suffered would be an understatement. A look at the chart shows that the past week has been a bloodbath, a complete reversal when you take note that it was just at its 52-week high at the beginning of August, where the stock had been 1 ringgit 25 cent. Datasonic issued a statement the day that actually came out, insisting that they had never paid Zahid, and the project was won through an open tender because they had given a value proposition, 15% lower than the previous vendor, and this actually saved 56 million ringgit. But whether after this Datasonic will come out unscathed is still a very big question mark, and whether its rate of success with future projects will actually ever be the same, given its dependence on government contracts. Usually in this section, we do highlight that there is light at the end of the tunnel. The caveat emptor in this case is that there's still too many questions about Datasonic that it is actually hard to say. But what we do know for certain is that at end June, its order book stood at 885 million ringgit, and that is expected to have positive impact on its revenue, at least for the coming months. Datasonic also continues to proclaim its innocence, pointing out that it had secured the contract in 2015, which is about 1.5 years before the checks were said to have been issued. BIMB had downgraded its call on Datasonic to a hold with a target price of 50 cent, which is actually still higher than what the stock is now. So you can see it as some kind of upside. But BIMB is clear that it is less positive on Datasonic as the allegation creates this overhang over its earnings outlook. MyEG Services is the website you go to when you want to pay saman or renew road tax. To be more exact, it is the concessionaire for e-services from a number of government agencies to the public, so this includes road matters as well as payments to do with foreign labour. MyEG also was implicated to have dealings with Zahid, but very indirectly. In the charges was said that Zahid, who was actually then Home Minister, had allegedly helped a company called Mastero Kenny IT Consultant and Services to obtain projects from MyEG in return for a little something. From a business point of view though, MIDF says that it expects the group's profit margin to be squeezed because this is new Malaysia and everything is expected to be done by open tender in order to improve corporate governance. On top of that, it also expects dividend yield to be unattractive at approximately around 1%. MyEG share price also tanked following the news about the Zahid connection, but it actually managed to recover. And it still continues to hold pretty steady. It is still lower than it was just a month ago, but considering the battering it took, it has managed to bounce back. A lot of that was due to MyEG's clarification that it was not actually under investigation, and MACC confirmed and clarified that MyEG is not involved in any way. It also made this announcement that they had no knowledge of Mesuro and never had any dealings with them. Aside from that, MyEG is also teaming up with the University of Malaya to promote and develop blockchain research and implement an e-wallet on its campus. According to Bloomberg, of the 3 research houses that issued reports a few days after Zahid was charged, 1 was buy, 1 was hold, and 1 was underperform. BIMB Securities believes that MyEG remains an attractive buying opportunity, hence a buy call with a target price of RM2.60. Macquarie, however, doesn't seem as impressed and they have underperformed with a target price of RM1.35.